Hi, and welcome to another AngelTrack demo. Today we are learning about the incident system and how we use it to keep track of everything that goes wrong at an EMS company. And for each and every issue that occurs, we will keep track of it. We will remember who is responsible for making the next move and keep a permanent record of everything that was done, all the way up until the incident is resolved. My name is Caitlin. I'm an SE here. I'm looking at this on Windows 7 with Internet Explorer version 11 and another web browser called Opera. I'm using two different web browsers because I'm going to be connecting to AngelTrack with two different user accounts so that you can see how two employees might pass an incident back and forth to each other. I'm using Internet Explorer and Opera. You can use any browser, any mobile device. It's called Bring Your Own Device, and it means that anything you have, any computer you have with a web browser, that's enough to connect to AngelTrack and perform your job. So you can do it with a smartphone like an iPhone or an Android phone, a tablet like an iPad or a Google Nexus or a Samsung Galaxy, a Toughbook, any version of the Toughbook, any operating system on it, laptops, desktops. Whatever it is you have, if it has an internet browser, then you're all set. That's all you need to use AngelTrack. So let's connect to our sandbox server here. It's a little copy of it's an AngelTrack cloud server that is for us SEs to use. So I'm going to connect into my sandbox as my captain's account. Captains in AngelTrack have full access to the incident system. So they are allowed to see all open incidents that are assigned to all the people that they're waiting on. So you can see here I've got two open incidents. They're both waiting on my HR person to look at. I don't have anything assigned to me the captain. I don't have any incidents assigned yet. So now let's use another browser to log into AngelTrack as a crew member. I'm logging here as Eric Jones, and we'll pretend that I'm an EMT on an ambulance, and something very typical happened to me today. I was in a nursing home. I was dropping off a patient, and a nurse took me aside and complained about one of my coworkers. So when that happened, my first thought was, okay, I need to get this into the incident system. I need to write this down so that this doesn't get forgotten, so that we don't have to play the telephone game of trying to remember who said what. I'm just going to record an incident right now and write down everything that the nurse said. So I'll say, yeah, this happened just now, actually. I was just told this. Now, let's see. We'll say that the complaint is about David Smith, a fellow EMT. Let's see. So, just the facts. That's what happened while I was at the nursing home, and the nurse took me aside to complain about David Smith. So as an employee, I've done my duty. I've recorded everything that happened without adding personal opinions. We'll go ahead and record that this happened at Bayou Manor, and now we're done. I did my job. There's an incident now sitting in triage, and as a crew member, now I can go back and I can finish whatever I was working on before. Maybe I've got some reports to finish. Now, we'll look back at our other browser and where we were logged in as a captain. As a captain, I can see everything sitting in triage. And lo and behold, there's a new incident come in, and the little red flag is up indicating that I've got an unassigned incident that I need to deal with. I need to assign it to somebody and let them make the next move. So we'll look in here, and here we can see what Eric typed about what he was told. So obviously the first thing to do here is to get David's story. So let's ask David for his version of events. Just ask him what happened. No accusations yet. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. And we'll assign that to David and let him reply. So now it's in David's bucket. And David has just this instant, he's received an email from AngelTrack saying that you've got a new incident assigned. So let's log in over here as David now and see what he sees. Okay, so on David's homepage, still got that certificate gonna expire, gonna have to take care of that. Got some unfinished reports here, got something that failed QA, and I've got that incident. So let's see what it is. All right, there it is. A nurse at the nursing home complained. Let's see. Well, reading. Oh, look, she complained. I knew she was going to be upset about that. So now David will give his version of events. We were picking up a chest pain, and the nurse had nothing ready for us. Laying there yelling that it felt like somebody was sitting on his chest, and the nurse didn't even have a face sheet ready. She should know better. So this is David's version of events. He will then pass it back to his boss. Pass it back to Chad. There you go, boss. That's my statement. So he's done his part. He can then go back and continue his work. So he might actually need to go back and get back in the PCR here. We have another video on YouTube about how crews use the PCR to fill out their reports. Just check elsewhere on the channel if you want to see how this PCR works. But let's look back at our other browser where we're still logged in as the captain. Now, as soon as David Smith reassigned this incident to me, I would have received an email or a text message saying that there's a new incident assigned to me, so I'll take a look at this. Okay, so here's the statement from the crew member. Looks like it really did happen. Looks like the nurse was not exaggerating. He must have jumped her case. That's it's understandable for an EMT to feel that way in that situation. It looks like the nurse really did drop the ball, but the supervisor, I don't want my employees yelling at someone else's employees. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this into a disciplinary action. David, although you were right that the nurse dropped the ball, it is not your job to discipline the nursing home's employees. If a nurse's negligence, you report it to me, and then I will take it to the nursing home administrator. In other words, we're going to discipline David Smith for failing to go through proper channels. So this is my finding as a supervisor. I'm going to pass the incident up to HR now. I'm going to decide that we know a cause now. This was a customer service mistake. And I'm going to blame David for it. So David is now blamed as the primary actor. And I'm going to go ahead and get his signature because we're going to turn this into a real live write-up. And save it. So now as the captain, I'm all done handling incidents. That's all I need to do. My part in this is finished. I can still take a look and see where the incident's at. I can see that it's now in the HR girl's bucket. Right here. It's assigned to her and it's waiting on her to make the next move. So remember that we went ahead and we blamed David Smith for this incident, and we requested a signature from him. So let's see what happens when David goes to use AngelTrack. The very next thing he tries to do before he's allowed to do anything else in the system, he now has to answer this write-up. So he's shown the summary and the cause as determined by his boss. He's shown all of the notes that were collected so far, including his own statement. And he's given the option to acknowledge it, yeah, you're right, I goofed up, or to refuse. So we'll say that he agrees, yeah, you're right, I shouldn't have said anything. So now he can sign. We're going to capture his electronic signature. On Windows, he can just sign with his mouse. If this was a touchscreen, like an iPad or a smartphone or a Toughbook, he just signs with a fingertip. Boom, he's finished. So now David is done with his part. Now that incident is still waiting on the lady in HR, but let's take a peek at it real quick. Let's look in on that for a second. Remember, as the captain, I can look at all of these open incidents, and I can see here that I've got a signature now from him. He signed it just today, and it's waiting on HR to make the next move. So let's log in as the HR employee and see what she sees. Okay, she's got 3 incidents assigned to her. So let's take a look. Oh yeah, here's the new one. Another complaint from the nursing home about an EMT. So she'll look through all of the notes, build up a mental picture of everything that happened, and so probably she'll decide to call David into her office and say, hey, this is twice for you so far in the past 3 months. If I get a third complaint about you, I'm going to have to suspend you. So she will create a record of what she did. Second infraction this quarter. And if there are further problems, he will be suspended or terminated. And she'll record when she did it and what his response was. So he promises to get better. We've already got a signature on file, so nothing left to do now but close the ticket. Closed and done. So we're finished. That was the complete lifetime of that incident. Until 6 months down the road, maybe David Smith is a hothead and he gets fired and the case gets dragged in front of the Workforce Commission. And Ms. Roberts here in HR is called to a Workforce Commission hearing to defend the decision to terminate David Smith. So when she needs to go in there, all she'll do is she'll pull up his employee file. Remember, she's a member of HR, so she's got all kinds of access. Let's pull up his employee file, shall we? Let's look at his incidents. Okay, so you can see I've got 3 incidents in his employee file. Looks like he struck a curb. Take a peek at that real quick. Okay, it looks like his boss wrote him up for striking a curb, and well, it looks like we've got a picture. Yeah, messed up a hubcap. So that's one issue. Let's take a look at that other issue real quick. The complaint from the nursing home. Okay, here's the complete history of the write-up, still here saved for us. And his signature. So all we gotta do is we just gotta print this out. I'm not actually gonna print this. Here's the complete incident record, everybody's comments, and the electronic signature and the date it was signed. This is all I have to do is print this off, fax it to the Workforce Commission in my pre-hearing submission, and then they have everything they need to understand why the termination was justified. All of it will be stored in AngelTrack in his employee file forever. Accessible till the end of time. I have all of that information saved for good. And you can see here we've also this HR lady has found a convenient use of the incident system, she is using it here to send herself reminders. Because AngelTrack doesn't let you forget that you've got open incidents assigned, she actually sent one to herself saying, hey, I need to get this taken care of. So that's the basics of using the incident system. I hope I've covered all the bases. If I missed something or if you have a follow-up question, check out the website. That's AngelTrack Software, all one word, angeltracksoftware.com. There's a lot of other videos here in the YouTube channel as well. Or just drop me a line and let me know how I'm doing. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.